Greetings. We're going to try to do some rivets tonight. I ran out of 5/16 rivets, so I made myself a little rivet header. I'm going to try to attempt to do some rivets. See how they work. Something like that. You would think rivets are easy, but rivets aren't particularly easy. You got to have good tools. Sorry, it's the internet. It'll get better, hopefully. As everybody gets off, hopefully it'll get a little better. We're in Cody, Wyoming, and everybody and their brother's here right now. The trick is to not lose the rivets in the forge. That's kind of the trick of this. You got to have good tongs too. So you got to quench off the back of the rivet, everything but the head. Drop it into the header. Punch ain't quite long enough. Get a longer punch. And what I don't want to do is camp them. You want to try to keep them straight. Let me go get a longer punch. Fancy ones. See if this one will work. No. It has to be this one. I'll answer your question. Let me get one of these. Let me get one of these done. Let me get one of these done, and then I'll answer your questions. Get all my tools set up here where I ain't gonna lose them. Get everything kind of set up. like making rivets. It's a pain in the butt. They're a pain in the butt to make. A lot easier to buy them. But you can make them. What is your forge? What's in your forge? Is it just the wood fire? No, it's coke and charcoal. No, it's actually just concrete. It's just concrete. Well, that's one done. Where am I going to put it where I'm not going to lose it? Let me get a can or something. A bucket, that'll work. This is a homemade forge. Well, because if you just take the whole hot piece of steel and you put it in the header, you'll mushroom out the bottom of the rivet, and then you won't be able to get the rivet out of the heading tool. And it'll get stuck in the heading tool. So you only want the part that you're going to mushroom hot. Coke is to coal what charcoal is to wood. Does that make sense? So the same way you make charcoal, you make coke, only use coal. That one's kind of crooked. Do it right, they pop right out, like that, and that's a rivet. And you don't quench them off once you get them. Coke like Coca-Cola. C-O-K-E, Coke. All right. I want to get these rivets made, then I'll maybe do something else. We'll see how it goes. I've got the air shut off to this damn near all the way. As all the way as I can get. There we go. Now I got it shut off. But you got to have a couple of really good sets of tongs for this. So you need a set of pickup tongs that are almost like needle nose. And you need a set that have good flat ends on them so you can just water. And I'm just using water to, you don't quench a rivet because you want the rivet to be as dead soft as you can make it. And I'm just using mild steel. I have prepped the little ends so you can see how I've chamfered the ends, and that will keep the head from splitting when you make them. I only need 3. What I'm using them for is I'm doing a couple of these great big rivets like this. And so there's a couple of big 5/16 rivets in there. And these are rivets for cooking on. I had a guy want them for, he's doing rendezvous stuff. So all this forge is concrete poured in, and I made a grate, and the grate is set in the concrete. The bottom of the tweer is about 4 inches across. Laid the concrete in there, and I made a tweer out of a piece of this tubing. Cut a hole in it, got a piece of pipe that runs in, and I got a fart fan hooked to it. And on the end of the fart fan I have a gate so I can control how much air runs into it. The nail header is a piece of axle. It's probably 4140. And I offset welded it on a piece of 5/8 square stock, which is the size of the Hardy in this little anvil. And the bottom is I ground the bottom of this so it's so stuff doesn't get stuck in there. Just a real simple header tool. I'm actually just ignoring you. Those get good and hot. I only need 3. I'm doing about half a dozen or so. Then I'll probably go grab some. A fan that's like in your bathroom. Like a bathroom fan. It's a little squirrel cage, 110. Come in a little box about that big. Well, it's been a long damn day. But I thought somebody might get some use out of this. So that's why I'm doing it. So I just have a coffee can over here with a little water in it. And what I'm doing is I'm guessing about how much I need for the head, and I'm quenching the rest off. Like that. And then I'm putting it in the nail header, or in the header. The trick is to get them so they don't cant. The best way I found is to hit them from both sides, every side. Do it right. They'll come right out. Hello. Hello. We're making rivets. Just a few. I ain't making a ton of them. And you want to keep your tool cool. It's very handy as a blacksmith if you can weld. Well, there you go. When I get done with these rivets, I'm going to do some other stuff. While I got the fire going, I'm going to do some other stuff. So there it is in the nail header. And I flip it upside down, and I've got a punch that's just small enough to go in the hole of the rivet. And if you do them right, you can pop them right out. The trick is to not lose your work in the forge. So pretty much everything other than the hammer and the anvil I made. I made the forge, I made the tongs, I make all the punches, I make all the tools. As a blacksmith, you need to be able to make your own tools. I've never liked a wolf-jawed tong for the work that I'm doing. I've never met anybody who's willing to pay me what I need to get for a sword. I do make axes. And I do make war clubs. About the biggest knife I've ever made is about 14-inch blade. That's about all I can fit in my forge. So, it snowed here in Wyoming today. Yeah, the wind kind of died down, but it snowed. It didn't snow here, but it snowed it snowed not 5 miles from here today. That's not the nice one. Some of them I do and some of them I don't. This one's got a forged welded blade in it. Yeah, that one's got a teardrop shaped eye in it, so it's easier to make handles for. Most of these, 2 of the 3 of those ones are factory made. I buy at the store, but I try to use hickory if I can get it. If not, I use ash when I'm making handles. Hardwood's really hard to get here in Wyoming. If you do them right, they come out very easily. Yeah. Well, ash is my second favorite. Hickory, if you can find it, but hickory's getting pretty hard to get. Go join your local blacksmithing club. I guarantee you there's one around you. Since Forged in Fire, there isn't hardly a town. Shit, Cody, Wyoming has a blacksmithing club. Yep. All right, last rivet. Then we're going to work on some other stuff. I need to do some hoof picks, and I use Osage a lot for knife handles, knife scales, and stuff like that. I have very limited. I've never had a piece of Osage big enough to be able to make an axe handle out of it. I don't know if they'd work or not. I know they make a lot of posts with it, but and I love it on knife handles because it's kind of that yellowy orange color. I really like it. I've never tried to use it for handles other than like maybe draw knife handles or something like that. I'm going to try to grab up a couple of horseshoes here. Kind of preheat those up. Gotta find me a hardy tool too. Might finish these up too while we're at it. Well, I got the forge going here. The coke I buy. You can make charcoal, and I have made my own charcoal in a pinch, but I buy it. Hello. Yeah. I've probably got some wolf jaws right here. Probably do, but don't know where they're at. Oh, here they are. I don't know why, I've just never liked them. I've never used them. These are billy tongs. And I don't know why. I rarely use work this way. Hello. All right, one more rivet and then we'll work on something else. Guess I probably should have cut more material today. You got to make sure that you got that tail end of that rivet totally cooled off before you put it in that tool though. If you do them right, they should almost just slide out of the damn tooling like that. Now I'll show you my tooling when I get it cooled off. So the head on top's flat, but on the bottom I've countersunk it a little bit so in case they mushroom they don't get stuck. But if you cool off the tail end of your stock, you don't have to worry about it. And that works pretty good because you can just drop it in the hole there. You can move it around. Make sure you hit the head of your rivet all the way around. Because if you just hit from one side, you'll cant the rivet and then it won't want to come out of the hole. I got a very dirty fire. I'm afraid I might have to invest a lot of money in coke this year. The guy I used to get my coke from, he died, And I know he's not going to be ordering any more by the pallet, so I'll probably have to buy a whole pallet of Coke this year. Hello. Questions, comments? That's just barely charcoal there. Well, you got to start with good coal, generally anthracite coal, and then you break it into pieces that are fairly close to the same size. The coke that I'm looking for is about that size. And then you'd put it in a container and cook it sealed in a retort, so it doesn't consume itself. So when it turns into coke, you can shut it off. But one of the byproducts of the oil industry, of oil refining, is also coke. So I don't know that I've ever used oil refinery coke, but I suspect that you could. It's a sealed vessel. Back when they made charcoal, they made them out of stone. They were big. They looked like a big round dome, and they'd stack the wood in there. They'd catch the center on fire. What you're doing is you're cooking all of the coal gas off, or all of the wood gas off. So you consume all the wood gas, and you leave a very, very pure form of carbon. But you got to be able to turn it down, shut it off, shut the air off to it. So you need air right in the beginning, and then you don't want to have air because you don't want it to consume itself. Now, time to turn that forge down. I'm putting air in there now. There's an art to running a coal forge. You got to learn how to do it. I mostly use borax for my flux when I can find it. There's a lot of those guys that use iron mountain flux. That's kind of the latest thing. I've wanted to try it, but I've never been anywhere where I could pick some up. Yes, borax. Boric acid. 20 mule team borax. It works as a flux when you're forge welding. In a pinch, I've taken welding rod and I've rolled the welding rod out and used the flux off of the welding rod too. I've had to. I know guys use sand. All kinds of stuff. If you got a really good clean fire, you don't even, and depending on what you're welding, you don't even need flux. Depending on what you're doing. Yeah, boric acid will do it. If you can grind that boric acid fine enough, it'll get between the spaces on an ant's body, and it'll kill them. Ants hate zinc too, so if you got an old piece of zinc, like a piece of galvanized sheeting, you can throw that over the top of an ant colony and that'll kill them too. They hate it. Don't want to get too many irons in the fire. That's how you burn stuff up. This is not my main setup. This is just the setup that I use for lives. I have 3 forges, 2 power hammers, 3 forges. I have a complete blacksmith shop in here. But the internet is so bad here that I can't do a live stream from the inside of the building, so I have to set the forge and everything up outside. I've forged a little bit on a Scott anvil. They're fine. I think they're all about the same now. I'm not so sure that they don't all come out of the same factory. If I was going to get a new anvil right now, I'd probably get one of those JHMs. A journeyman, round horn journeyman, about I think they're 128 pounds. You can move it around, but it's still plenty big for most guys. I was looking at Scott anvils today. I think they're about $500 down at the local farm market, but they're a fairy anvil and they got a flat horn on them and not ideal for doing blacksmithing work. I mean, you can use them, but you're better to have a round horned anvil for doing blacksmithing work. Yeah, that's how I started, was as a farrier. I went to farrier school back in 1989. I'm going to finish these 2 hoof picks, and then I'm going to work on the ends of these other little things these little wall hooks I'm working on right now. Got to finish them up because they got to go in the mail tomorrow. That's a set of farrier tongues I made. Almost too big. These ones might work better. These shoes are pretty thick. These shoes don't want to hold that set of tongs very good. I need to get me a different set of tongs out. They're a very slick shoe, these, whatever these are, Kirkharts or whatever they are. I wonder if I got another set to do it. That's a little better. One down, one to go. Thanks. If you like the work, there's a link to my Etsy store in the bio, or if you just Google Cody Ironworks, it comes up. I do a lot of house stuff. So these are the hat racks I do, all forged up. Do a lot of wall hooks, tons of different wall hooks. And I do a little bit of custom stuff. I'm trying to get away from the custom stuff, but I do a little custom stuff once in a while. None of these tongs want to hold this particular set of shoes very good. Fighting it a little. Thank you. Thanks for the likes, everybody. I appreciate it. Thanks for all the hearts. I appreciate it. Let's get a little air running through this. Feed this fire back up a little. I'm sure there's a big old clinker at the bottom of this now. Hello, good evening. There's one more done. All right, now we're going to work on these steer head hooks. I gotta do a little whale tail on the back of them, and I'm going to be pretty doggone gentle with them because I don't want to burn them up. I got too much work in them now. So we're just going to kind of lay those in on top of that fire so I can watch them pretty close and let the heat build up. Let the heat build up in them. Because I don't want to turn them into a sparkler. Greetings, greetings. Hello, everyone. Got to change hammers. We're going to go from a rounding hammer to a cross-peen hammer. My old brush is just about done with. Okay. About time for a new one. anybody has any questions, I'm more than happy to answer. Good thing about this little forge, it doesn't use up much. Yeah. There's the study. First step to last step. There's the finished leaf. Now that old end gets pretty thin and you got to really be careful where you put that in the fire so you don't burn the end of it up. Well, I appreciate you watching my content. Making a little texture on the end of that. Trying to get my whale tail pretty even too. Got it. Yeah, got it. I need to get just a little more of that hot. Try not to burn it up. They're going to be wall hooks. I don't have one hanging here, but they're going to be a wall hook. I'll bend that whale tail back so there's nothing sharp when you hang your coat on it, and then I'll bring them back around. like that. Hello. Quiet night on here tonight. Well, let's see, we did rivets. I did a couple of hoof picks, and we're working on some fancy steerhead wall hooks right now. But I was just showing off my sexy rivet header that I made today. It drops down into the hardy hole of my anvil, so that frees up both hands, which is kind of nice. So you don't have to hold a tool. Oh yeah, we're plenty hot there. So I'm going to courtesy quench that off so I don't bend it. Woo, come here, buddy. Where are you going? Where are you going? There's the wall hook. Now I got to finish up his head, but I'm not going to do that tonight because it's dark, and I'm going to use the propane to do all the fancy sculpting of his eyes and stuff. I don't want to do that out here in the dark. I got too much work in them. I don't like the way that turned out. I'm going to redo it. Reheat it. I used to do this every Sunday morning. I called it Sunday Forge Church when I didn't have a life. When I first moved into this shop, I used to do a Sunday thing every morning in here. And then I got a girlfriend, and the girlfriend was like, oh, no, let's just spend Saturday night and Sunday together. And I was like, oh, okay. So now I do Sunday night instead of Sunday morning. Buenas noches. Donde? In Argentina. Viven en Estados Unidos, Wyoming, Yellowstone National Park. There, that's a little better. That looks better. All right. Well, wonder if my rivets are cooled off. I guess we'll finish up these other two hoof picks and we'll call it good tonight. I got much fire left, so we might as well burn it up. I'll rake everything back so I don't get no more. Go in there. Burn up what we got. Push everything else back so we don't catch the whole damn country on fire. I do have a cover for this. Forge. So here's the rivets that we were working on. I have no idea. I'm sure there probably is. They're always looking for help. But the bad part about being a park ranger is most of the time it's not year-round. Yeah, there's my fancy nail header I made. And I got enough rivets to do a couple of them. So that's good. Let's put all this finished stuff in here. I'll leave it outside. And I'm sure it's all still fairly hot. I just had the idea to turn the head of a D-guard into a rattlesnake head. Yeah? Well, art is art. Art is art. I've come up with a lot of original stuff, and then sometimes I copy what other people do because people come in here and that's what they want. I've seen a lot of rivets, or a lot of trivets, but I've never seen one quite like that. That's forge welded, because he needed it to be traditional. All kinds of stuff. Trivets, rivets, wall hooks. We're going to do I'm going to finish up a couple of these. I'm going to finish up a couple of these hoof picks right now, and then we're going to call it good. I can't ever have enough of these around, it seems like. You can tell it's the end of the day, though. I'm getting the dropsies. This is not the job if you're afraid of getting burnt, though. You definitely want to stay away from it. See there, I'm getting the dropsies. The good thing about using coke versus coal is it's not nearly as smoky and stinky. No, I'm not a lefty. I'm right-handed. It's the damn camera inverts everything. No, I'm right-handed. Maybe instead of a hoof pick, I'll do a couple of bottle openers. These thinner shoes are easier to forge. Maybe I'll do a bottle opener instead. If I got enough fuel here. I'm not going to add any more though. Whatever I got is how far I'm going to go. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. You can always set up your shop left-handed. There are left-handed and right-handed tongs though. So when you build tongs, you want the upper jaw to be on the inside so they'll roll into your hand. So a left-handed smith would build them the opposite way. It's not like there's such a thing as a left-handed hammer. And if you're left-handed, you just stand on the other side of the anvil. Got to do this in chapters. My fire's getting small. Boy, that coke does get hot, I'm telling you what. Yeah, all kinds. Yeah, I'm not doing no custom hammers. Go to somebody that specializes in them. If I'm making hammers, I'm making them for myself. I'm not hardly doing any custom work anymore. I'm 53 years old and I'm just not willing to do that. Once in a while I'll do something custom for some friends or like a charity in town, but I'm not doing any custom work. Very little custom work now. That's why those axes are still on the wall. If I wanted to sell them, they'd be gone. But I don't. I don't want to sell them. One of these, I'm finally to a point where I get to keep some of the stuff that I build for myself, other than the tools. All right, here comes the bottle opener. Fire's so small I can't get the whole thing hot. I got to do it in chapters. Oh yeah, we got a good clinker going down in the bottom of that. That's about all the forging you're going to get out of that forge. About 2 hours without cleaning it out. Here we go with the Jesus stuff again. My preferred is 4140. It's water cooled. I make a lot of tools out of it. Just need the tip of that hot. Let's see if I can just get the tip of it hot. Need to bring the tip around a little more. Now we're talking. Yeah, there we go. We're getting them. Probably. I generally block them, especially with everything going on in the world right now. Nobody needs that bullshit right now. Can't ever get done of killing people. Call ourselves civilized and we still killing each other. Can't get enough of it, apparently. Woo, we're running out of fuel, guys. Got them though. Can I get it? I don't know. Getting pretty short of funds here. That is going to be a bottle opener. I got to bring that. I want to get that tip into the center a little more. Well, we'll use up the rest of this fuel. got this one pretty thick. Might have to do a little adjusting on that one. This one will work though. Just a wee more. Just a wee more. File on it a little bit. Why do you, if you have a hatchet, what do you need a bottle opener for? You can just use your hatchet as a bottle opener. Just take that sucker, put it on your thumb like that, and go whoop, and you can pop the top right off of one. Ask me how I know. I used to be on the fencing crew. We used an axe a lot. And one thing that you never find on the fencing crew is a bottle opener. But you do generally find beer. So I don't know if this one's going to turn out as good or not. Ta-da! All right, bottle openers. There ain't nothing but a clinker at the bottom of that. So let me see, I got a piece of clinker here. I'll show you what a clinker is. So as clean as it burns, you'll always end up with a little bit of sediment in the bottom. And it's like glass. And eventually it'll plug up your tweer. Let's see if we can pull it out. I'm sure there's one in here. Yeah, there it is, right there. So that's the clinker. And so with this little forge without a clinker breaker in it, I can probably get an hour of forging, hour and a half. How long have we been on? Hour and a half? Yeah. I got about an hour and a half of forging out of that. But It will eventually plug up the tweer so bad that the air won't run through it. All right, so now for safety's sake, tongs, everything. If you like this kind of stuff, subscribe. I don't do a lot of long form videos, but I do a hell of a bunch of short form, less than 3-minute videos. So here's my big plate, and the wind is always blowing in Wyoming. And so what I'll do is I'll lay that on the top of that forge. And that'll keep that wind out of there. But the good thing about that coke is it'll be out in a few minutes. Because without air blowing onto it, it'll go out really fast. All right, questions, comments? Questions, comments, bad jokes. What's your Coke? Well, it ain't the white stuff that you put up your nose. It's the fuel that we use to power these forges. And that's it. And I guarantee you it would be very unpleasant if you put it up your nose. And it's not the Coke you drink in the red bottle that, you know. There's my wall of tongs. There's my wall of axes. Pink and purple. Well, pink you find in nature. Purple is not a real color that you find in nature. Purple is an oddity of your eye. It's the way your eye perceives it, but it's actually not a real color. Do you use shotguns? I do. But not for birds. I prefer the 2-barreled varieties that are like this. Well, I sure appreciate everybody coming on tonight. How do you take off the red thing that covers the trigger when you buy it? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't get the joke. Maybe it's a generational thing. I don't get the joke. It's too late at night. It's 11 o'clock here. Been on for almost, oh shit, it's after 11 here. It's past my bedtime. On a Sunday night. I got to get up in the morning and go to work. Oh. Okay, well, good for you. Good on you. All right, everybody, have a great evening. Please subscribe. Please go watch some videos. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for sticking in. Appreciate all the likes and everything. If you really want to see what I build, but other than watching the videos, you can go to the Etsy store. It's just Cody Yarnworks. If you just Google it, it'll come right up. I'm going to bed, and I do this a couple of times a week, so if you subscribe, follow me, then you'll know when I'm live. I generally do them in the evening this time of year, and I do them in the morning in the wintertime. So, thanks, everybody.